You're right about millions of Trump supporters being upset. Donald Trump obviously has been booted off Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, which were a great megaphone for him. Does he plan to try to get back on social media, perhaps with some new outfit?
You know, Harry, this is really interesting, the fact that the president's been off of social media for a while, because his press releases, his statements, have actually been getting almost more play than he ever did on Twitter before. I'm not sure if that's because the length of them are a bit longer. I even had one reporter say that she thought it was much more elegant, the way that the president was able to communicate his thoughts, and it very much looked more presidential in that longer form. But I do think that we're going to see President Trump returning to social media in probably about 2 or 3 months here with his own platform. And this is something that I think will be the hottest ticket in social media. It's going to completely redefine the game, and everybody is going to be waiting and watching to see what exactly President Trump does, but it will be his own platform.
So just to follow up, will this be a platform that the president, the former president, will create himself, will be working with another company, and obviously he'll be starting from scratch. He won't start out with 88 million Twitter followers.
Well, I can't go much further than what I was able to just share, but I can say that it will be big once he starts. There have been a lot of high-powered meetings he's been having at Mar-a-Lago with some teams of folks who've been coming in. And I got to tell you, it's not just one company that's approached the president. There have been numerous companies, but I think the president does know what direction that he wants to head here. And this new platform is going to be big, and everyone wants him. He's going to bring millions and millions, tens of millions of people to this new platform.
We'll watch that space. Is the former president also going to continue to make endorsements of Republican challengers for the 2022 primaries? We're still pretty early in the cycle, obviously.
Well, you got it. In fact, I believe since January 20th, when President Trump left office, he's already had over 20 senators, over 50 members of Congress either call or make the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago to ask for President Trump's endorsement. His political endorsement is the most important in world history. There's never, ever been this type of endorsement that's carried this much weight. Coming up this week, I think you'll see a couple of incumbent senators who are endorsed once again. But really importantly, pay attention to Georgia tomorrow on Monday. There's a big endorsement that's coming. It's going to really shake things up in the political landscape in Georgia. It's big. It's coming tomorrow, and just be sure to tune in.
All right. I'm sure you don't want to go further than that and upstage the former president. I want to give you a chance to respond to this criticism by some media liberals and some Democrats seizing on the awful murders, the killing of 8 people at the Atlanta area spas, and somehow tying it to President Trump's rhetoric and his use of China virus or Wuhan virus.
Howie, this is really disappointing, and I think the fact that there's this finger pointing and trying to assess blame to President Trump on this, I think as a country, I think as a culture, we need to get past this effort to try to blame somebody else anytime there's a horrific event. To be very clear, what happened in Atlanta is terrible. What we've seen around the country happening with so many Asian Americans is absolutely terrible, and that should never happen with anyone from any background. But I think it's worth pointing out that President Trump actually did 5 points better with the Asian American community in 2020 than he did in 2016. That's because of these policies for growth, for economic improvement, for national security, for local community security. The fact that President Trump has been so anti-mob violence, he supported small business owners, whether it be in Minneapolis, whether it be in Atlanta, whether it be anywhere, who've been so impacted by some of this violence. But why does the media try to rush to try to blame President Trump? When President Trump took over, I never heard the media rush to blame President Obama for something that happened even after he left office.
Right. All right. I want to slip in one last question, which is Joe Biden tripped on the plane steps the other day, got a lot of media derision for that. I'm sure since the press went haywire when Donald Trump had a little trouble or was a little shaky walking down that ramp, that you're going to say this is a non-story and give Biden a break, right?
Yeah, something like that, Howie. But here's the thing. If Joe Biden can't even make it up the flight of stairs. I mean, Howie, it wasn't once, it wasn't twice, it was 3 times. And who knew that Stair Force 1 was going to be such a challenge for our current leader of the country? But on the world stage, we already were disrespected by China this week when we look at the way that Tony Blinken was disrespected in Anchorage on the talks there. And now to see Joe Biden wipe out, karma's a you-know-what, Howie. And I think for so many in the media who focused on President Trump but are completely ignoring what happened to Joe Biden just this week. Let's go and call it for what it is, and Joe Biden just doesn't have the fortitude for this job.
All right, well, I wouldn't overplay either incident, but good to hear from you, Jason Miller. Thanks for coming by this Sunday. After the break, Frank Luntz on why the media aren't persuading many on the right to get a potentially life